It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Griffin said, my company 401k offers a 100% match on the first 10%. One, if I'm misreading that, if that's accurate, that's amazing, right? 10% match.
There's a catch. I know, because there's several technology companies that do this. Because I get excited.
Tell me more.
They do 10%, 100% match on the first 10%, up to $2,500.
Oh, okay, got it. Maybe that's the case.
I bet there's a dollar cap on how much that money is.
Either way, that doesn't kill the question. Here's the question. I've been doing Roth for a few months, but should I ask them to roll the match into Roth? If so, how often? I'm 23 years old. I have an $85,000 salary, and I'm 31%. That's a marginal rate in California, right? Yeah. So 31%. So here's the question. Some plans will allow for what's called in-plan Roth conversions, where I can take pre-tax dollars and then convert them to Roth. Well, we know how much we love Roth dollars for our young folks. So a lot of young folks start, hey, say, I'm going to do my salary deferrals all Roth. I'm not going to get a tax benefit now. I'm going to get it in the future. So they just start piling money in. But we know the employer can't put money in the Roth bucket. Employer contributions have to go into the pre-tax bucket. Yet.
Keep going. I'll explain what I mean by
Employer contributions right now have to go into the pre-tax bucket. But some plans say, hey, we'll let you convert that. If you want your employer match to be in Roth, we'll let you do that. So it sounds like Griffin is in one of those plans. Should he be doing that? Is that something that someone ought to consider doing? And how do you decide? How do you figure out if that makes sense?
Well, I bet Griffin is asking this question because I saw the news media was covering some of this, is that there's legislation that's been proposed out there that would actually, I guess the government would bear the cost, is because they would allow let employees determine do they want it to be tax deduct, Roth versus traditional. And and this is also tentative. It's not even worth really discussing yet, because until things make it through both sets of legislation, the legislature, meaning the House and the Senate, because there's a lot of sausage making and horse trading that they do in between those things. I don't think it's worth really discussing, but there does appear that there's a push in Washington right now to give more funding options to young people to even get that portion to be deductible. But until that happens, until that legislation gets a little further along, Bo's discussion, and look, even to do Roth conversions in plan would mean you have a plan that's probably pretty forward looking.
Pretty good one.
You've got, when I see in-service distributions or in-plan conversions, I know I've got somebody in HR that's somewhat of a financial mutant and knows some of the unique planning opportunities with the mega Roth conversions and so forth. But Griffin, you need to pay attention to, what is your tax rate? If you're in a very low marginal rate and you are young and you're one of those hyper savers that's, maybe you're part of the FIRE movement or something like that, and you're in the low tax bracket, it's not the craziest thing, but I am worried because a lot of people who work for these forward-looking companies, they're usually technology companies, they're usually in high-income situations. Take advantage of the Roth, but also pay attention to the marginal rate factors out there, because that comes into play as well.
I think that what Griffin said is 31% in California, right? And so, but he also told us his salary. So it's really interesting. I don't know, Griffin, if you are married or single, but either way, if $85,000 is either your income or perhaps it's household income, one thing that tells me is that's below Roth contribution limits, right? So one of the things you can do is you can contribute directly to a Roth IRA. So we know that you can put $6,000 in a Roth IRA, assuming you're not married and your spouse's income puts you over the limit. You're also putting money in your 401k into the Roth salary deferral portion. So you have a lot of Roth dollars going to work for you. Now the question becomes, if I'm only 23 years old, I have a lot of years that things might change. Circumstances might change. I might be in lower tax brackets in the future. I might move to a different state. I might get married in my bracket chain. Whatever the thing is, I don't know that I would be in like a huge hurry. And I'm just kind of thinking through this because this is a little half-baked. I don't know that I'd be in a huge hurry to accelerate all the taxes that I can into this current year, right? You're already making the decision to accelerate some taxes by doing Roth 401k contributions as opposed to pre-tax. And we would argue, our rule of thumb states that, once you're over that 30%, Pre-tax is really, really attractive.
Well, especially in a state like California, because
It's
I know they
really,
have a higher
really
tax rate state. I would definitely, because you just said something that's very important. Don't even consider doing this, converting traditional of your employer, if the plan allows it, into Roth, if you haven't done both. Meaning, if you haven't done the Roth IRA plus the salary deferrals already to Roth, that's a pretty good threshold. I mean, even on an $85,000 salary, I mean, if you think about those numbers, I mean, we're getting into close to $27,000 would be in Roth. It's at $27,000 out of $85,000. That's a
big
savings rate. That's really incredible.
And I would encourage you, Griffin, if you are that person, go to moneyguide.com/resources, go download our wealth multiplier deliverable and see just how powerful those dollars will be for a 23-year-old all the way into the future. You are a financial mutant in the making, and I can't wait to
young age too.
Continue to watch your journey progress.
Literally a billionaire of time, with the seconds, and then saving that level.
It's unbelievable.
He's going to be a beast.